Tom Bower exposes new claims about Meghan's yacht years. The golden gates of Montecito are officially off their hinges, and the panic room is running out of oxygen. For 8 years the PR machine worked overtime to bury it, but today the absolute unthinkable has happened. Renowned biographer Tom Bower has reportedly just bypassed every single super injunction in the United Kingdom to unleash a treasure trove of unredacted evidence about Meghan Markle's pre-royal yacht years. We are talking about flight manifests, high-definition digital paper trails, and eyewitness testimonies that do not just whisper, they scream. Why has this specific chapter of her past been guarded like a state secret? What is currently causing the Sussex legal team to go into what insiders are calling a Category 5 meltdown over a simple luxury vessel? If you thought the Spotify fallout was messy, you are not ready for this. The mainstream media has spent nearly a decade looking the other way, pretending these questions were just the wild theories of keyboard warriors. But now, with Bower's relentless forensic digging, the dam has officially burst. We have got the alleged receipts, the timeline that refuses to add up, and the one question nobody in the royal circle wanted asked on the record. How did a mid-tier cable actress fund a billionaire's lifestyle before ever meeting Prince Harry? Pour yourself something strong, lock your doors, and turn up the volume, because the narrative isn't just cracking. It is completely shattering, and we are breaking down every single jaw-dropping detail right now. Now, to understand the sheer magnitude of what we are dealing with, we have to look back at the absolute mastery of narrative control that has defined the Sussex operation since day one. For years, anytime a journalist, an observer, or even a family member dared to peek behind the velvet curtain of Meghan's pre-royal life, they were immediately met with a wall of high-priced legal letters, public relations deflections, and a branding machine that could spin lead into gold. If you brought up her sudden, meteoric rise in social circles that usually require generations of wealth or major political connections to access, you were branded as envious or worse. But Tom Bower does not care about branding. He does not care about being invited to the next high society garden party, and he certainly does not care about carefully curated press releases. What he cares about is the paper trail. And what he has allegedly uncovered is a complex web of high-end travel, exclusive international elite circles, and financial gaps that simply defy basic mathematics. For years, the official story was that Meghan was just a hard-working, self-made actress who happened to enjoy a nice vacation now and then on her hard-earned salary. But when you actually sit down with a calculator and look at the actual earnings of a supporting actress on a basic cable show filmed in Toronto, the numbers start to spin out of control. We are told she was making around $50,000 an episode on Suits, which, after taxes, high-end Los Angeles agent fees, publicists, and managers, leaves you with a very comfortable middle-class income, but certainly not the kind of capital required to charter private helicopters, stay in $5,000 a night villas in Amalfi, or rub shoulders with international oligarchs on private mega yachts. Yet, if you scrolled through her now-deleted lifestyle blog, The Tig, or her old Instagram feed from that pivotal period between 2014 and 2016, you would think she was a multi-millionaire tech heiress. The discrepancy is glaring, and it is exactly the thread that Bower has reportedly been pulling at with relentless, terrifying precision. According to deep dive insiders who have managed to get an early look at the upcoming chapters of Bower's investigative findings, the focus is narrowing heavily on the Mediterranean social circuit of the mid-2010s. This was an incredibly exclusive, highly secretive world where the ultra-wealthy international financiers and political power brokers gathered away from the prying eyes of the paparazzi, far out at sea. And right in the middle of this high-stakes playground was Soho House. It is no secret that Meghan had a profound, almost obsessive connection to Soho House and its global membership director, Marcus Anderson. Anderson's job was essentially to curate the perfect crowd for these ultra-exclusive clubs and their high-profile members, ensuring that the wealthiest men in the world were always surrounded by the most charming, attractive, and ambitious young women. Bower's research reportedly suggests that Meghan was not just a casual guest at these venues. She was allegedly relying heavily on the network's massive influence to fund her international travel, secure her luxury accommodations, and gain entry onto the super yachts of the global elite. The legal panic we are seeing unfold right now is not about a simple vacation photo. It is about the fear that Bower has successfully mapped out the exact connections between these private luxury vessels, the influential figures who own them, and the ultimate circles that led her directly to Prince Harry. The Sussex legal team is reportedly working around the clock, firing off frantic, late-night emails and threatening catastrophic lawsuits to any publisher who dares to print the unredacted flight manifests and yacht docking records that Bauer has compiled. But the old trick of using aggressive privacy laws as a shield is rapidly losing its power because the public is no longer buying the polished victimhood narrative. What makes this development so incredibly damaging for the Montecito brand is that it directly challenges the carefully constructed origin story that Meghan and Harry sold to the world in their Netflix documentary and Harry's memoir. They painted a picture of a naive, independent American woman who knew almost nothing about the British royal family, who had to Google her future husband, and who was practically swept off her feet by a prince in a whirlwind organic romance. But if Bauer's evidence proves what many have suspected for years, that Meghan was actively and strategically moving through highly calculated, elite social circles specifically designed to connect ambitious individuals with high-status partners, then the entire fairy tale collapses. The narrative shifts from a sweet, modern love story to a highly coordinated, multi-year social climbing campaign. And the panic is real because Bauer is not a gossip blogger who can be easily dismissed as a conspiracy theorist. He is a biographer who has successfully taken on some of the most powerful and litigious billionaires in modern history, and he has never once been forced to recant a major claim in court. When Bauer writes that he has new material, the entire publishing and legal world stops to listen. The rumors of Meghan's yacht years have circulated in the darker, quieter corners of the internet for nearly a decade. But this marks the exact moment those rumors are being netted into the respectable, mainstream historical record. It is one thing for anonymous commenters to speculate about old photos on a forum. It is an entirely different beast when Britain's oldest and most respected periodicals start asking, in plain print, how many private vessels she was actually a guest on before she ever stepped foot in Kensington Palace. The strategy of the Sussex camp has always been to completely ignore any criticism that they cannot easily label as biased, hoping that if they stay quiet long enough, the public will simply lose interest and move on to the next news cycle. But this silence is starting to look less like dignified restraint and more like absolute paralyzing terror. They know that if they launch a massive libel lawsuit against someone with Bauer's resources and reputation, it will trigger the legal process of discovery. Discovery means that Meghan would be forced, under penalty of perjury, to hand over her private emails, her personal diaries, her financial records from her acting days, and the unedited archives of her defunct blog. She would have to answer under oath exactly who paid for those luxury trips to Italy, Spain, and Turkey, and what she was doing on those private vessels. That is the ultimate nightmare scenario for the Montecito PR team, because a courtroom is a place where slick marketing slogans and emotional appeals do not hold any weight. In a courtroom, only facts, dates, and bank statements matter. This is why the legal letters are flying behind the scenes, trying to choke the life out of this story before it can ever reach a judge. But the momentum has already shifted, and the public's appetite for the truth has reached a boiling point. People are tired of being told what they can and cannot ask, and they are tired of seeing a system where the wealthy can simply buy silence. As Bauer prepares to lay out his findings, the world is watching, waiting to see if this is the moment the ultimate royal illusion finally shatters beyond repair. And as we look closer at the specific timelines, the sheer impossibility of her official story becomes even more glaringly obvious. The transition from Part 1 to Part 2 brings us directly into the cold, hard numbers of the timeline, where the glossy fantasy of a self-made starlet's lifestyle completely detaches from the gravity of financial reality. To fully grasp why the Sussex legal team is reportedly experiencing a collective, high-stress cardiac event over Tom Bauer's upcoming revelations, we have to look at the sheer logistical impossibility of Meghan's mid-2010s calendar. If you look at the production schedule for the television show Suits during those pivotal years, the cast was contracted to film in Toronto for up to 8 or 9 months out of the year. This was grueling standard television work with long hours on set, leaving very tight windows for international travel. Yet, according to the archived digital footprints of her former blog and social media accounts, the moment the director yelled cut on a season, Meghan was not just going home to rest. She was instantly boarding business-class flights, hopping onto private charters, and appearing in the most exclusive, high-ticket European destinations. We are talking about highly coordinated trips to Ibiza, Amalfi, Malta, and the exclusive beach clubs of Turkey, all occurring in rapid succession. Anyone who has ever planned a luxury vacation knows that this level of continuous, high-end travel requires an astronomical amount of disposable liquid capital. When you subtract the heavy costs of maintaining a publicist, an agency team in Los Angeles, a stylish wardrobe and prime real estate in Toronto, the math simply refuses to behave. This is where Bauer's alleged discovery of specific financial records and digital footprints becomes so devastating. He is reportedly not just looking at the photos, he is looking at the funding. The core of the investigative findings suggests that these trips were not funded by a standard actor's salary, nor were they simple, independent solo ventures. Instead, they were highly curated, invite-only experiences where accommodation, transport, and access were fully subsidized by wealthy, highly influential figures who operated far above the standard celebrity social ladder. In the ultra-wealthy playground of the Mediterranean, there is a very specific unspoken economy. Wealthy oligarchs, venture capitalists, and high-ranking political figures do not charter multi-million-dollar super yachts to sit on them alone. They require a curated atmosphere of attractive, articulate, and ambitious guests to populate these floating palaces. This is where the role of high-end social facilitators like Soho House and key global connectors becomes central to the entire narrative. They acted as the ultimate bridge, connecting young, ambitious talent looking to elevate their social standing with the kind of unimaginable wealth that can provide private aviation and five-star luxury on a whim. If Bauer's upcoming book details the exact names of the individuals who paid for these flights and chartered these vessels, the carefully built narrative of Meghan as a fiercely independent, self-made feminist icon who never relied on anyone for her success is completely dismantled. But the financial mystery is only the tip of the iceberg. What is truly causing panic in the Sussex camp is the geographical and social overlap between Meghan's Mediterranean excursions and some of the most controversial figures of the early 2010s. For years, quiet circles of researchers have pointed out that during the exact periods Meghan was reportedly guesting on luxury vessels in Europe, several high-profile individuals connected to the infamous network of Prince Andrew and his associates were operating in the exact same waters. This is not to say there is a proven, direct link to illegal activities, but the sheer proximity and the shared social circles are enough to make any royal PR manager claw their hair out. Bauer is reportedly meticulous in mapping out these overlaps, using harbor logbooks, private flight registries, and eyewitness accounts from yacht crew members who have finally decided that their non-disclosure agreements are no longer worth the paper they are printed on. The threat of legal action from a fading royal couple carries a lot less weight in 2026 than it did in 2018, and many former staff members, crew, and service workers are reportedly starting to speak quietly to investigative biographers. They are describing a world where young actresses and models were brought in under the guise of promotional appearances or influencer hosting, only to find themselves navigating highly complex, high-pressure social dynamics with some of the most powerful men in the world. The silence from the Montecito camp during this building storm is deafening, but highly strategic. They are fully aware that any public statement, any angry denial, or any attempt to launch a preemptive lawsuit will only draw more attention to the very questions they want buried. If they claim mistaken identity regarding the leaked footage and photos that have begun circulating in the darker corners of the internet, they invite a forensic examination of those files. If they claim she was never on those specific vessels, they risk Bauer releasing the physical docking receipts and guest lists to the public. It is a classic chess checkmate. By staying silent, they hope to starve the story of oxygen, hoping the mainstream media will remain too terrified of being labeled biased to pick it up. But that strategy relies on a media landscape that no longer exists. The barrier between alternative online reporting and mainstream establishment journalism has completely disintegrated. When a highly prestigious, 2-century-old British publication like The Spectator openly prints articles referencing these yacht rumors and using incredibly sharp, borderline libelous language to describe her transition from royalty to a pay-by-the-hour celebrity, the game is officially over. The mainstream has given the green light, and the floodgates are wide open. Furthermore, the legal pressure is mounting from entirely unexpected angles. The ghost of the Prince Andrew scandal continues to haunt the royal family, and the legal teams representing the victims of that network have long been curious about the various social circles that intersected with the Duke of York's world. Reports have surfaced for years that high-profile attorneys like David Boies have looked into Meghan's potential knowledge of these social networks, given her deep connections to Soho House and her presence in the exact European hotspots where these elite gatherings took place. The fear is not just about personal embarrassment. It is about legal vulnerability. If Meghan is ever forced to sit for a deposition or answer questions under oath in any proceeding related to these wider networks, she cannot rely on a prepared PR statement or an emotional interview with Oprah. She would have to provide exact dates, names, and financial transactions. Every single detail of her life before she met Prince Harry would be dragged into the clinical, unforgiving light of a courtroom. This is the ultimate nightmare that Tom Bower is reportedly forcing them to confront, and the tension behind the closed doors of their Montecito estate is said to be at an all-time high. As we transition further into the consequences of these revelations, we are beginning to see the real-world impact of this crumbling narrative on their current business ventures. It is not just about the past, it is about how the past is actively poisoning their future. Major corporate partners like Netflix, who signed multi-million-dollar deals based on the promise of a clean, highly marketable modern royal fairy tale, are reportedly looking at these mounting controversies with deep concern. They did not sign up for a never-ending cycle of legal drama, historic investigative exposés, and questions about pre-royal associations. The brand value of the Sussexes was entirely built on their status as global, progressive leaders, but as the foundations of that status are chipped away by Bower's forensic reporting, the corporate world is starting to distance itself. The cold shoulder from Hollywood executives, the sudden lack of high-profile invitations, and the quiet unfollows on social media are all symptoms of a brand that has become toxic. The world is finally starting to connect the dots, realizing that the story we were sold was only a highly polished cover version of a far more complex, calculated, and high-stakes reality, and the final chapter of this exposure is about to bring the entire house of cards tumbling down. This brings us to the final critical phase of this unfolding drama: the total systemic fallout and the corporate ice age that is currently freezing out the Montecito brand. For a long time, the Sussexes operated under the assumption that they were simply too big to fail. They believed their global stature, backed by the initial staggering success of their media deals, made them completely untouchable. But in the brutal metric-driven reality of modern entertainment and high finance, sentimentality does not pay the bills. When the foundations of a celebrity brand begin to rot under the weight of historical scrutiny, the corporate retreat is always swift, silent, and absolute. The ultimate tragedy for Harry and Meghan is that the very past they tried so desperately to erase is now actively destroying the future they tried to build. We are witnessing a slow-motion corporate abandonment that is leaving them isolated, both socially and financially, on their hilltop estate. Behind the scenes, the relationship with Netflix, the crown jewel of their commercial empire, has reportedly deteriorated into a state of silent warfare. Industry insiders whisper that the streaming giant has grown deeply fatigued by the constant legal drama, the endless demands for narrative control, and the diminishing returns on their massive investment. The era of writing blank checks for vague, vanity project documentaries is officially over. Execs are looking at the hard data: millions of dollars spent, promotional materials quietly disappearing from office displays, and warehouse shelves groaning under the weight of unsold merchandise. The public's appetite for the manufactured royal victimhood narrative has not just waned, it has completely dried up. When senior executives are reportedly refusing to enter negotiation rooms without a phalanx of legal counsel present, you know the trust has not just been broken, it has been pulverized. But the corporate panic is nothing compared to the quiet, devastating social isolation that is currently redrawing Harry's entire world. For years, he was surrounded by a fiercely loyal group of childhood friends, military buddies, and aristocratic peers who would have taken a bullet for him. Today, according to highly respected reporting from mainstream outlets like the Wall Street Journal, that protective circle has vanished. His phone is quiet. The men who stood beside him at his wedding, who shared his childhood secrets, have reportedly been frozen out or have voluntarily walked away, exhausted by the endless drama and the demands for total, unquestioning loyalty to the new Montecito regime. Harry is left living in a gilded cage, described by close observers as looking increasingly drifted, isolated, and uncertain of his purpose. He is a man caught between two worlds, belonging to neither, with the realization slowly dawning that the ultimate price of his new life was the complete sacrifice of his old identity. And then, there is the ticking legal time bomb of the British monarchy's future. The cold reality of royal protocol dictates that if Harry were ever to find himself navigating a personal restructuring or a potential remarriage in the future, the legal power of approval would rest entirely with the reigning monarch. In the years to come, that crown will belong to his brother William, the very brother he has spent the last half-decade publicly tearing down in memoirs, interviews, and global docuseries. The absolute irony of this dynamic is Shakespearean in its tragedy. The systems of tradition, protocol, and family hierarchy that Harry and Meghan tried to tear down as outdated and oppressive are the exact systems that ultimately hold the keys to his future. You cannot spend years burning the bridge behind you, and then expect the people on the other side to build you a golden ramp when your current island begins to sink. This brings us back to the catalyst of this entire collapse: the forensic, unyielding work of Tom Bower and the quiet, investigative journalists who refused to back down. For years they were dismissed as obsessed critics, but as the pieces of the puzzle begin to align, their reporting is looking less like speculation and more like historical prophecy. The high society events that were meant to launch Meghan's new luxury lifestyle brand are crumbling before they even launch, with organizers facing massive, six-figure debts and public skepticism reaching an all-time high. The contrast is stark and humiliating. A brand that presents itself as the pinnacle of global luxury and elite sophistication, constantly colliding with the grubby reality of financial instability, public relations disasters, and legal threats. The dam has not just cracked, it has completely burst. The conversation is no longer confined to the fringe corners of the internet or the whispers of royal insiders. It is being printed in 2-century-old publications, debated in courtrooms, and analyzed by corporate boards in Los Angeles and London. The narrative of the self-made independent duchess who swept in to modernize a dusty old institution has been entirely replaced by a far more complex, calculating, and ultimately tragic story of high-stakes social maneuvering and corporate overreach. As the legal letters continue to fly and the public continues to demand answers, one thing is abundantly clear: the truth has a habit of surviving, no matter how much money, influence, or pure spin you throw at it. The ultimate reckoning is no longer on the horizon. It has arrived at the front gates of Montecito, and no amount of security or high-priced lawyers can stop it from coming inside. So what do you think? Is this the moment the carefully polished facade finally crumbles for good? Are Tom Bower's upcoming revelations about the Yacht years the ultimate checkmate that the Sussex legal team simply cannot spin away? Or will the Montecito PR machine somehow find another way to bury the narrative? I want to hear from you. Do you believe the math on her pre-royal lifestyle adds up? Or are the gaps in the timeline just too massive to ignore? What do you think the future holds for Harry and Meghan as their corporate partners continue to back away, and the isolation grows deeper? Drop your thoughts.